you never heard of. Hey everybody, welcome to the Common Folk Podcast with Ben, Morgan, and Andy.
Eric Burgett on the intro.
Have you twisted his arm enough? Is he going to make a stop in Nebraska, maybe Iowa?
He says he's gonna.
All right.
He says he's gonna.
Well, come on, we waiting.
He's pretty good. People need to check him out. We appreciate him putting that music together for us. Eric Burgett.
Yeah, he's growing.
Burgett. He's put out a lot of new music. He's had some. I saw him post something the other day. 1 million streams on Spotify.
Dang.
Got some songs that were hitting the top of the charts. I mean, all kinds of crazy stuff.
I'm just waiting for him to hit the highway on
He probably will.
Sirius XM.
Yeah.
I mean, they always have the new up and coming. I mean, to him, he's probably like, I'm not new. I've been around. I've been doing this for.
I think they all understand that, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and that guy, he's the definition of like commitment and hard work. Because just like you said right there, he's been doing this for so many years and just grinding it, trying to get traction. And finally, seeing the results of that.
Yeah. And, he's got a couple of things that I really appreciate about him. For one, he's not from Georgia or down south. You're prototypical country music singer. And two, his main gig is the piano. And he didn't get away from that. He stayed true to that. And it's actually, I think it's like his greatest advantage, if you want to call it that. It's something different. It sounds different, and I like it.
Not a lot of country stars. They're always strumming their guitars.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
You don't see Blake Shelton up there on the keyboard,
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
It's different. It's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so check him out on pretty much any social media platform. Eric with a C, Burgett, Burgett. Good dude. Looking forward to having him in someday. If he comes through, he'll definitely be on the pod.
Well, you guys went to a really cool concert last summer, and it was like just outside of that small town Elmwood, Murdoch, outside of Murdoch.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to do something like that, right?
I know.
Wasn't it like called Cornstalk or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd been cool.
Totally.
Yeah.
Hey, I know a farm we could host him at.
You do?
Yeah.
One up north somewhere?
Well, that we have more room up there, I'd say.
Yeah.
We might know a few farms.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
thinking farm-focused headquarters.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah.
We could. So anyway, welcome to Common Folk. Here we are.
We're all just staring at each other. Oh, we're on? We're live?
Well, you caught me right in the middle of a drink
Oh,
there.
shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we don't know what to do because it's before 9 a.m.
Yeah.
We never do this until like usually
Afternoon.
Drinking time.
early afternoon at the.
I should have brought
at the
mimosas
earliest.
or something.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Well, so I still got a big old coffee. I'm on my second coffee.
You are.
Cooper's Chase bourbon would work with that, wouldn't it?
That is a pretty good mix.
Irish it up a little
Yeah.
bit there. You know?
I can't drink coffee out of Yetis. It's
Really?
a weird thing of mine. It has to be
It has to be a big frig.
No, it has to be in a mug.
That's the problem.
It has to be in a coffee cup.
I get that.
Even when I'm driving the car, people think it's weird.
Well, they stay so hot.
I know,
for
but
so
there's
long.
something about like
I prefer a coffee cup too.
it's weird. I don't know what that is. Anyways,
But then it splashes around in the cup holder. and
I know,
shit.
but that's why you got to hold it. You got to be a good driver,
Gotta be good.
like me.
One hand on the coffee cup, one hand on the phone,
Yeah, I don't have my hand on the phone.
knee on the steering wheel.
Oh, stop.
There's a really funny stat out there from a survey. It said like 80% of people believe that they're above average drivers. Well, you're not. I
Yeah.
mean, because at least 30% have to be wrong, right? In order for it to be.
Right.
That's so true. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm an amazing driver, but I can drive
Yeah. And,
decent.
and drink coffee and
Why did your eyes get really big
Text and
when
all
I
that. I mean,
said
whatever.
that? Let's talk about texting.
Hey, this isn't about me.
Oh,
It kind of is.
yeah, kind of. Anyways, what are we talking about today?
What are we talking about today? So today we are going to talk about the idea of all the things that we deal with today in terms of products specifically that are just throwaway anymore. A couple of weeks ago, and we're kind of in the midst of this right now, this is what got me thinking about this particular topic, is our washer and dryer. Mm-hmm. So we're dealing with washer and dryer.
Okay.
These
two big appliances.
Yeah.
Expensive appliances.
Like we kind of
Yeah.
need them
yeah.
every day.
So this is how long have we been married? 18.
It will be 19 in May.
Okay, 19
All right,
years.
you got it. That's pretty good.
So for the amount of time that we've been married, this is the second set that we've had. So the first set we got as soon as we moved in together. Mm-hmm. I was working at Sears.
So you got the Kenmore, the nice ones, the whole 9 yards.
It was, yeah. It was a Kenmore. Front loaders were
Because
hot
I
at the time.
really wanted a front loader.
Yeah,
Very
all this,
good.
You know,
All
all
right.
this stuff.
Yep.
So, you know, and so that was 20 years ago, roughly. I fixed that thing, like a couple of major fixes, probably 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The washing machine. The dryer, we never had trouble with the dryer. But
No.
it was the washing machine.
Like took the sucker apart.
It would be like fully disassembled,
And
taking
you'd
the
have
tub
to buy
out.
the
Yep.
components.
Yeah,
to-
so and at the time, that's what was cool about Sears is you could buy parts for like any
appliance.
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they may still have it, but it was like Sears Parts Direct or something like that. So that was my go-to. So I'd go there, you type in your model number, you'd get a full schematic of all the parts, you know, parts diagram, parts list, anything you want.
Right.
So then I'd diagnose what was wrong with the thing. Oh, okay, that's what I need. I'd buy that part. They'd ship it to me. I'd put it in. I'd fix it. It's off and running again. And did it time and time again. And kept those things running for, I don't know, the ones that we have now. So it probably would have been...
Probably close to 10 years.
It was well over 10. It was,
Okay.
It was 12 to 14 years, probably something like that.
Pretty
Long
good.
freaking time.
That's pretty good.
And then when we ended up getting rid of them in the end, they still were running, but those front loaders just would get nasty.
Well, yeah, you guys are probably
Ooh.
dealing with like first generation,
Yes.
and
Yes.
yeah, that was the big thing is they wouldn't really drain well,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And so
Yes.
you'd get that smell.
So when he would take it, when he took it apart a couple times, I remember, you know, you see those Instagram ads,
Yeah.
and the inside is just covered in black
Mold.
filth.
Yeah.
Not a joke. When you take that drum
Yeah,
out,
it was nasty.
oh my gosh, the power washer was going outside like
Yep.
nasty.
Yeah. And there was parts like there was hoses back in there that I would replace. That
Oh.
there was nothing wrong with them, but I replaced them because I knew, like on the inside,
smelled
they were
bad.
so
And people
gummed up.
wonder why your
Yeah.
towels don't ever, you know, they kind of always just, once they get wet again, they kind of smell moldy. That's
Mm-hmm.
why.
Yeah.
So anyway, a couple of times we did that, and then you're basically starting over with a brand new machine because it was all cleaned out and everything.
Yep.
So then we just decided, look, we're done with these front loaders. We moved and bought a set in, I think it was when we were in Tennessee, of a top load washer, regular dryer, and I said to myself, all right, I'm going to buy the most basic set, but that still has quality and nice features
Okay.
so that I can fix it down the road because these things are going to break.
Right
It just
on.
is what it is. So I found a nice Maytag set. Price was good. All dials, no digital like
Right on.
keypad and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
So here we are. They've been in use now for, I don't know, 6 years, something like that.
Longer than that.
No, because they sat for like 2 years or so in
Oh,
storage.
true. Okay.
Long story short, they've been in use for about 5 or 6 years,
Okay.
maybe 7 at the very most. Washer's starting to go out. So the thing is, like, when it goes into spin mode, it is just howling. Like, you can hear it across the whole
So
house.
loud.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I start digging into it. All right, apparently it's got a transmission in the bottom that moves the drum back and forth, and the transmission's going back. It's probably the bearings in the transmission, I'm sure, but you can't just get that. You got to get the whole transmission.
Sure.
Okay. So I started looking that up. All right, that thing is $400 or something like that.
Yep.
$400. All right, I can replace that. Still, it's less than the new one. So I start looking into the repair. Well, the way this thing's designed, when the transmission and the drum like basically like weld themselves together. That's not how it was from the factory, but that's what it does over
yeah.
time.
Okay.
So you end up having to replace the whole drum too. So now you're at like $800 or $900 repair. You could go buy a new one for $700 or $800.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to do all the work, and you don't even know if it's all going to go back together right.
Yeah.
You're going to need new seals, all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I'm looking at all this, thinking to myself, this is absolutely ridiculous. I intentionally bought this machine to be able to fix it,
so I could pull parts out, and replace those.
Yeah. And now this is what we're dealing with, and the parts cost more. Like only two parts cost more than the whole machine.
I know. I get it. Yeah.
So this is what got me on this topic. So I started thinking about it, and then it got me to thinking, like, man, do we have anything anymore that we buy that we can fix, or do we just throw it all away?
I think the short answer is no. No, we don't. We're built to throw it away and get new, and it's really what keeps the economy rolling, right? Buy, and sales got to be up, especially like a company like Maytag that went public a long time ago. We've had this discussion before. You got to keep those shareholders happy, and how do you do that? With more sales. So what's annoying to me is it's just so blatantly obvious that you should be able to just buy a couple parts and take care of yourself here.
Yeah.
Right.
But the system is geared to be inefficient and to be wasteful. And now we're dealing with all this, the landfill is filled up. The landfill right down the road here. That's been over full.
Yeah.
Or however you say that. What do you say? Too full?
Too full? I don't know.
It's over capacity.
Yeah.
And it has been for a number of years. And they're like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Well, no one's lining up saying, hey, put a landfill over here.
Yeah.
there's
Put in my backyard.
There's this laundry list of reasons. And so we just keep piling more on top of the old one that's, I guess, not capable to hold it. But anyhow, this happened to me last summer with our HVAC system.
Oh.
And in our starter home, which we turned into a rental, my first job out of college, I just got right on board with which was previously my summer job, and that was basically working for kind of a slumlord type of guy that had over 100 properties. And part of his gig, though, was he would hire you and then pay for your schooling to go get your HVAC certification. And it was a good way to go about it.
Yeah.
And part of that is once you got that certification, you could actually go buy these parts that Ben's talking about at cost.
Oh,
so
okay.
I bet I could have, if I would have still had that certification, went and got those parts for $60, $40, and then you would have been back in business. So I was able to do that with our old HVAC system. It was an old system, over 20 years old, and it would just die. It would go out. Well, all it took was like I'm not even kidding you, a $7 part.
Yeah.
All I had to do was just take a screwdriver, take it out, put it in, and boom, it was like brand new for another 7 years.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's not an everyday hookup, though. You got to jump through a lot of hoops, and I had a really nice advantage there. Bought this home here. First, when you buy a new home, things happen, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
HVAC goes out, blah, 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 windows, this, that, everything else. So HVAC starts acting up. We have a guy come out that we know, and he goes through the laundry list. First off, charge you $150 to come out and look at it.
Yeah.
And then, we could do this, we could do that, but, at the end of the day, it's going to cost you more to do that than to just get a new one. And even if we do, piece it together, your old wiring might not be able to handle the new one.
Oh, my
Your
gosh.
old, it's like, Jesus Christ. Well, and you're also, right away, you start stepping on your own dick because you're saying this is more efficient. It's going to take less electricity and all this stuff. But the old wires that were built to take this big old robust machine that killed energy,
Can't take more
it. It's like,
efficient energy.
What are we even talking about? You're talking in circles trying to sell me this big ass new machine for 12 freaking grand, and of course that's what we end up doing. Just got the new one, didn't want to deal with it. Just like what you're talking about, those two parts. Once you get those put back in there, there's no guarantee it's even going to work.
Right. Yeah.
So we went through it last year with an HVAC, and it was very frustrating every step of the way.
And that made me think of a couple of other things. Like, so many things are so electronic anymore that it's also gotten to the point where even if you do try to fix it, you as the laborer could change the part, turn the screws, turn the wrenches, whatever, put it in. But then with a lot of these things, you have to pay a technician to come out with a factory computer and plug into this thing and either reset it, let it know that it has a new part now.
Yeah, let it know
whatever.
that it's operating.
Has something to do with programming that it has to be run through. So you're kind of stuck anyway.
I thought you totally sounded like an auto guy when he was saying I wanted to buy the basic so I could fix it myself. Like that's how a lot of guys when I grew up talked about their pickup trucks. You know, I didn't want to get an automatic. I wanted to get a stick shift. I wanted to get windows that you could roll.
Yeah.
You know, because the more electronics you get, the less you're able to work on it.
Yeah.
And also the more gingerbread that you have on something, the more things that can go wrong with it. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad always... He always thought that with deer rifles.
Oh, yeah.
He just liked the bolt action, what has the least amount of parts, because at that moment of truth, you hunt all day for those 2 seconds, you know, your window.
Yeah.
If you have a semi-automatic with the freaking scope that you got to turn on and get the lighting right, like there's just so many things that can go wrong.
Totally.
Yeah.
Just give me some iron sights and a bolt action.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So these... back to these washers and dryers as an example. So we've got that. So I started calling around and I'm talking to these appliance repairmen and I'm like, is there anything we can buy anymore that I can know for a fact down the road I can repair? If something happens, I can work on it. And the thing I keep hearing today is called Speed Queen. You ever remember hearing about Speed Queens? I remember like back in the day when I used to work at Sears, that was a name. We didn't have them at Sears, but that was like the commercial one, like that you would see in like
Hotels?
A laundry house
like
or
a
something.
laundromat or
Or
something.
like
yeah, yeah,
okay.
something like that. So I started looking these things up, and yeah, they better be good because they're more than twice the price of everything else out there.
Yeah,
you know the Maytags, the Maytag equivalent to what I have now is like I don't know $700 today or something like that. The Speed Queen's like $1,300.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And you get a 5-year warranty, right? So they know it's going to work for 5 years,
There
whatever.
Yeah. All right.
But then apparently you're going to be able to fix it. But I have no confidence.
Yeah. Man, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, come on, right? They're not trying to sell you that, are they? Like,
Well,
they do. Yeah, that's what they want me to buy. I mean, it's
is a Speed Queen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ashley and I have this conversation quite often because it comes up. Like we're just such a throwaway society. And our meat grinder, you guys came over and we made venison burger with.
right.
Just this one little part. It was basically a bolt that goes at the end of the auger.
Okay.
Snapped off. I put it on backwards one of the first times we used it. And all I needed, I'm not even kidding you, was a bolt like this size. But it was a goofy
Like an inch or whatever.
Yeah, but it was a goofy shape to it. And went back to Cabela's. Hey, all I need is this bolt. And like, we don't do that. Why don't you just buy a new one and use that one for parts? Use it for parts? And we get that story on so many different things that we have.
Yeah.
But why don't you just keep that one for parts?
Yeah.
And buy a new one? Like, no, that's not what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
And they did not help us. I will say that they did not help us. We had to figure that out. And I just got to think like, wherever they make these, Kentucky, Mississippi, there's probably a 5-gallon bucket of those bolts just sitting there in the corner collecting dust.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And I can't get one from the place that I bought it.
Yeah.
You know, and
That reminds me of a couple other quick things. So,
Oh, go ahead.
oh no, you haven't said much. What do you got?
No, I was just going to say, let's also bring up the point that there's some people out there, many people that are not handy like you guys. So they just don't want to mess with it.
Yeah.
And maybe they have more money. So they are going to just chuck it and it's just easier, right? And it's a time thing. So some people just go run by that method. Like, hey, it's broken. Let's just get something in here quick now. Where maybe that's the Midwestern mentality, like to fix it. I don't know. Maybe it's just like what kind of people, like, I don't know. I don't want to say it's just an area, but
and I have no problem with that either. Like I mentioned earlier, like that's what keeps everything spinning, right? Is buy new, buy more.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position where you can be, let's call it just wasteful,
Okay.
or just replace it. I have no problem with you or your decision.
No, I agree.
I just feel like we're not only being led down that path in an egregious way, we're being forced down it now. Like what you're talking about, like, oh, sorry, the parts actually cost more than a new one now.
Yeah, you just literally don't have a choice.
But then we cut out that guy that wants to come fix our washer, right? Like if you just buy new.
That's what's gonna happen. With some of these here in town, there's a small town appliance repair company that's been there forever. And eventually
we'd love to give them business if we could.
Eventually that's what's going to happen to them, is that there just isn't going to be that much for them to repair anymore.
Yeah, and a place like that everybody loves, and they'll call him and ask him for his expertise. But then at the drop of the hat, they'll run to Omaha to a big box store and buy something for $150 cheaper.
Yeah.
It just sucks. He's catching it from a couple different angles there.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that you were talking about, Andy, that reminded me. So you were saying about something just, they say, oh, we'll just, save it for parts or whatever. So here in our print shop, we've got these printers.
Oh, God.
Tens of thousands of dollars for printers.
Yep.
Okay. One of them is 3 years old. It has a major failure. So I get a hold of the manufacturer. I'm talking to them about it. They're like, oh, well, parts are 8 weeks out, and, that thing just, and even when you do that, this is probably going to go bad, and that's probably going to go bad. And
now you're matching old versus new, and the new's going to wear out the old.
You might just want to look at a new one, and I'm like, oh, my God. And they're like, but that part, if you want to get it, that part's $2,000, but it's going to take at least 8 weeks because it's on a slow boat from China. I'm like, oh, okay. So we start digging in, trying to find it out. I call the salesman. He's like, oh, man, yeah. He goes, these things are good for maybe 3 to 5 years. And then...
And you're at 3 years.
I'm at 3 years, yeah. Okay. And then you just need to replace them, But I got one. I got a good deal on one. All right, whatever. Start writing it up for me. So as I'm going through the repair procedure on ours to figure out what's going on, we narrow it down to just a sensor. It's just it's got a bad sensor. Well, they don't sell just that sensor.
Shocker.
You have to buy this whole $2,000 system.
Like a board.
Yeah.
That has multiple parts in it. And then that's what they said. They go, well, you replace this whole thing and then just keep that other one because it has all of these other parts that are still good, and you can just use that for parts later.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta throw $2,000, and then if I want to pay one of your technicians to do it, another $1,500 to get them here and all that for a $10 sensor.
And it's an electronic piece, right? So you can't just...
Yeah.
Oh, man. They got you.
Yeah, that's what it is. The other thing, though, that I was thinking about that's a positive, we were talking about parts and not being able to get parts, and, this company, they should have that bolt laying around or whatever. I have a Carhartt jacket that I got when I was in high school, right, junior year in high school.
Okay.
So that thing, maybe sophomore year, I don't know.
That you still wear.
Yeah, the thing's 25 years old.
It's a Carhartt.
Yeah. The zipper on it went bad, maybe 10 years ago.
That big old metal brass.
Yeah.
Big, heavy duty.
Hanging.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to call them and see. I love this jacket. I don't want to go buy another $150 Carhartt jacket. So I called them, and they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. We got those. We'll ship you one. And there will be instruction there on how to install the zipper. I'm like, cool. So they did. It was easy.
Yeah.
Here I am 10 years later with the same jacket and a free little zipper they gave me because they kept the part in stock. And I love it. And I'll continue to buy their stuff over and over again.
That's a fantastic point. And there is still a really good number of companies out there like Carhartt that stands behind their products. And it's those stories that really makes up the bulk of their advertising or their marketing efforts, is just let the people tell our story for us. Buck Knives, same type of deal. I know a guy that broke his, the old-fashioned flip-up buck knife, and it was his fault. He was hitting it with a hammer as it was stuck in bone.
Okay.
It's like, dude, you can't do that, and he knew that, but he broke it, snapped it in half, and he thought, you know what, I'm going to get a hold of Buck Knives because it says lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
And I said, oh yeah, no problem. Send it in. We'll send you a new one back, and they did right away.
Crazy.
Yeah,
that is good.
There is a few of them that do that.
I feel like that used to be a thing. They used to always say, companies said, lifetime. I mean, and do you really ever use that? Is that just a thing? Do they want people to think it's for lifetime? But if you do get a hold of them and they actually follow through, how huge is that? But they're probably thinking most people won't do that.
Right.
Correct?
You're led down that path to just buy new. You don't even think to use that. So
Sears, again, back to Sears, they used to be really good at that.
Yeah.
There was lifetime warranty on a lot of stuff they sold, primarily their hand tools. And a again, I worked there when just out of high school, and I was in the hardware department, and people would come in multiple times per week with a broken wrench, with a snapped socket, whatever. And yep, here you go. Warranty covered. Yep. Take your new one.
And that's one of those brands, man, that stands behind it.
Yeah.
Should we tell a fun? You got me thinking about something, and it was a really cool story. I don't know if I brought it up yet. Going back to the bolt and your sensor. Now, the sensor's electrical, so that you're kind of stuck there. But when was the last time you've been up to Big Frig?
Oh man, it's been a while now.
So they've really expanded their operations, offering more products, doing more customization, type stuff. So they've made a heavy investment in different printing and engraving machinery, and with that, there's a lot of moving parts.
Yep.
And there's a couple of these machines, and you're talking like a $50,000, $80,000 machine, and it's all, in order for it to work properly, there's this little plastic hook thingy that flips up and down, and it's just known that this damn thing breaks all the time. And then, like what you're saying, you're 8 weeks out because we got to wait for it to get to China, and then maybe look at a new one. They got a 3D printer.
Oh, really?
And they started printing off these little hook things, and they started doing it with other little parts, little plastic piece of shit parts.
Good.
And then now they got like a network going because other people that they work with have the same machine, the same problems, and they send a Ziploc baggie of all these little plastic pieces, and they're like, ours hasn't broke yet. I think we're fine. Like, yeah, just on us, have fun. It was like within 3 days it broke, and they put that piece in. Like, oh my God, thank you, Brock. Thank you, Brock. That was so awesome. So for me, it's a fun Revenge of the Nerds type story. Like, you know what? We're just going to take matters in our own hand. We got the technology you sold us. The other side.
Right.
Yeah.
And you could have just sold me a part, overpriced it, double priced it. For what
I would have bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But instead, now I have a Ziploc baggie full of them. And not only that, I'm printing them out for my friends too. And whatever they got on their end, they're sending me. So it's kind of how open business, the open market is meant to work. Like, if you're going to try and put me in this corner and screw me over, we're going to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it's kind of neat with 3D printers on that regard. We've started to see that. And so if any of you people out there have some machinery that's, it all hinges on a dumb little plastic piece, get a hold of somebody with a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Beat the system.
No, that's pretty cool. And in that same spirit, and I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know, YouTube. I mean, if you want to fix or figure out how to fix just about anything, you can probably find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I did that. Put in a new heating element into our rental's oven. It was a good oven. It's a GE, and so there's a whole bunch of how-to videos, right? I actually got to pick one where it was a really good-looking gal. She was wearing a low-cut shirt. I was like,
God,
wow,
Andy.
this is something else. Okay.
You got to pick that one over the guy?
Well, no, she had way more views, so I just took her expertise.
Of course she
weird.
had more views.
That's weird.
Oh my God, you're making me laugh.
It was hilarious.
Okay.
And she did. It works now. Okay, it works. So,
So she did her job.
she did it.
I'm sure they got a girl with a low cut shirt to do that.
Little flannel with little tool belt on, the whole 9 yards. So,
Oh my gosh, with big knockers in her face. You missed that one. This got me thinking.
So
that,
what were you repairing?
Yeah,
again?
what were you?
Wait, let me take a quick
let's
note
pull
here.
it up right.
Yeah.
Right. Let me figure that one out. This got me thinking though about when you get new things like manuals, owner manuals. I have this big box at home, and I keep everything. But do we really even need to anymore, to the point of like what you were saying with YouTube? Probably not.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of so old school. I was trying
nice
to
to
change a
have it.
filter on the microwave, and I needed to get a replacement part, or in
You can.
all this stuff. And so then it just seems easier to just pull it down than just searching it. But I don't know. I just was thinking of that when
Yeah,
you guys were talking about it.
And that was, I've always been all for that, because if I wanted to fix something, I
You
would
have
grab
it.
that manual. It would have the model number of whatever the
Yeah,
machine or item
that's
was that
true.
we were working on, so I could look that up and I could chase down whatever I needed. But
I don't know. I think I'm still going to keep them.
I think it's a good idea to keep it because you're relying on a third party or somebody out there on the interwebs to provide that that manual.
Yeah.
When it comes with it, you might as well. It's not taking up that much space.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to hold on to them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I just was thinking when you said that, I could just get online, but it just maybe that's what people do, but who knows?
I think a lot of people do, and that I do. So
Yeah.
but I don't think it hurts. I think it's a good idea to hold on to your manual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is funny.
Yeah,
and
it's just interesting. It's I'm sure people listening.
It's so basic, right? Like all this, but
Well, I'm sure
it's needed
people
to talk about.
Yeah, people know. Like people listening are probably like, "Oh my God, I know." Like they're just
Everyone
thinking to
has a
themselves,
story.
like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, just last week I was trying to do this or that." A lot of people listening might be in the farm and ranch community with heavy duty equipment, tractors, and so on and so forth, and that stuff has become a nightmare to repair. Any of the new stuff, you got to pay a factory technician, you got to pay the manufacturer to plug their computer in, all these kinds of things. There's a lot of guys that at their operations have just decided we are only going to own old stuff.
Yeah.
So they can fix it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We can fix it. We can maintain it.
But are they still selling those parts?
For the older stuff? Yeah,
they are.
As long as it's not like something extremely old. But the extremely old stuff can't get the job done anymore.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. That's like
you're
just
talking about
vintage.
like 15-year-old stuff or whatever.
Can I tell one more Revenge of the Nerd story on that
Yeah.
regard? And that was just in the news, the Right to Repair Act. One of our previous episodes we talked about.
We did talk about it,
Yeah.
That was in the news. I think it took a step forward or backward. It's getting caught up. It's
Right.
getting caught up on the floor. But Ashley's cousin, young man, lives out in McCook. Brilliant type of guy. You can score a 36 in your ACT.
Yeah.
I think he got like a 36 when he was a sophomore.
Oh, geez.
One of those type of dudes. And so he's really fascinated with how things work and grew up on a farm. He's cut out a really cool niche where he's a machinist and he builds parts for machinery that they use out in the McCook area to keep these old wagons and tractors running. Like people don't want the new John Deere that's 100 computers in the block. So, and he's overwhelmed with work.
I bet.
Because
no one does what he does.
nobody does what he does. He understands what he's doing. He's really good at it. And, if you have a tractor you like and it fits the job you need, why go buy a new one?
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if this kid down the road, and he's not a kid, he's a grown man now.
Yeah.
But I just think that's once again, look, if you're going to try and force me to buy a new tractor that I don't want or need, I'm going to find a guy like this that's going to help me out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, there's ways around some of this stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
But anyway,
Well, back to the washer. We're just using it until it breaks down.
we're just limping it. We're limping it along.
Good for you guys.
It's just so loud, so we can't run it at night anymore. The whole house will get woken up. But
Can't watch TV while the washer's in spin mode.
I mean, there's like 2 doors in between. It's so freaking loud. It's just kind of funny. I don't know. We should take bets and see when it's going to go out.
It's so dumb. Like another example of how these things are all set up. It has some like something that it senses that it's like, oh, something's wrong, and then it shuts itself down.
It does.
Right.
And it will not work once it shuts itself down. Like you cannot turn it back on. So I went online, Google searched Maytag,
Turn that off.
spin issue, whatever, how to reset. And it's basically like a series of unplugging, plugging, pushing the start button, whatever, doing these things. You do it,
So
and then it
we got it
resets it
reset
and it fires
again.
back up. So we've had to do that like 3 times. But eventually that thing's going to let loose, and the drum's probably going to end up flying through the wall.
Oh, I hope not. Or it like leak and water go everywhere or something.
So let's turn this around. So the Common Folk podcast kind of reached a milestone. We're over 20,000 downloads. Pretty cool. Pretty cool,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I bet out of those 20,000, I bet there's someone out there that could help you out with this. Like they've run into this. They can
There
get you
probably is, yeah.
Yeah, they got that certification that I was talking about.
Yeah.
They can get you the part and they can tell you, oh, don't do this, don't do that. Just, I bet one of our listeners can do that.
Someone's probably got the part in there.
Yeah.
Like they probably got one that something else broke down and it's sitting around for parts.
They have
parts.
Yeah.
exactly. They have the one that's just sitting there for parts.
Ship
Hey,
us.
hit us up.
Yeah.
Send Ben an email.
There we go. Love it.
Right.
What do you got? Some swag you could offer him in return?
Oh, yeah. I'll give you a
There we
T-shirt or something.
go.
I don't know, whatever you want.
I mean, maybe
yeah.
even two.
Yeah.
A hat also.
Whatever you want. All the goods.
I know there's a guy or gal out there. She might be wearing a low-cut flannel.
Might be.
They could get you
Might
these-
have a YouTube video.
There we go. Get you these parts at cost. And
Perfect.
Yeah, get you a little video how to do it, too.
Perfect.
Great. Can't wait to see that.
A few shout-outs on this episode.
Yeah.
I like it. There
Yeah.
we go. Spreading the wealth.
So in regards to that topic too, that what you were talking about with the number of downloads and stuff, that's pretty sweet. Wanted to remind folks about the reviews and the ratings on Apple, on the Apple app. Most folks know you can go in there and do reviews. We got a couple lately. This first one says, found this podcast from Fast Ag Montana. So Tony and Amy, I wonder if they were they talking? Oh,
When they were here, babe.
I know we interviewed them, but I was just trying to think how this person would have found it through them. Maybe they talked about it on their
And then I'm sure they listened to that
Tony
one.
had it on his YouTube video.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Started listening and absolutely love it. Great down to earth views on things in life, and being in Nebraska makes it even better.
All right. Well, thank
What
you.
else did we have here? This is a great listen. Down home, common sense, yet entertaining pod on all kinds of topics. A good Midwestern take, which is kind of the goal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a lot of good ones on here. We appreciate it, as always, and this has happened a couple of times over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
If you go on and do a review, or even on one of the other apps, just do the rating.
Yeah.
Let us know. Shoot me an email, ben@farmfocused, FOCUSED.com. Let me know that you submitted it, and you got a T-shirt or a hat heading your way from Common Folk.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Could I get a Fast Ag hat, though?
Oh, you can, yeah.
All right. There we
Yeah.
go.
No.
Oh, you
kidding.
can't.
Yes, you can.
It's got to be common folk.
Of course, you can.
What else? We have anything else to touch on?
I don't know. We have the whole day today, so I got to work. What are you guys going to do? You're just going to go sit around, watch some more YouTube videos, Andy?
Yeah, well, and now I kind of feel like I have to, but no, I got to do some final game prep. State basketball tournament starts today.
That's all right. Yeah, you're busy this week.
And I will have 12 games in 6 days.
Wow.
Yep.
Fun.
So
Guys,
is
he's a
lot of fun.
talker, so
it is a lot of fun.
He's
So
just warming up this morning.
that's
so
right.
Ben's going to go talk on the phone like he does all day.
Talk on the phone, yep.
Barter for parts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Well, it was nice chatting with you boys. Next time we'll do early morning bloodies or mimosas.
Yeah, there we
just
go.
got to get organized.
Yeah, we're going to
Okay.
rely on you for that next time.
Okay, kind of a last second thing here.
Sounds good.
All right,
Cool. All right. Well, anything else?
that's it.
All right. We're going to close it out.
Okay, peace.
Later.